A very fine good afternoon to everyone present. Now we'll be discussing lecture 27. I hope you have watched from lecture 1 to lecture 26. If you have not watched it, then you should definitely go and watch it. It will help you in your interviews, in your placements, even in your semester examination. So today we'll be discussing about hierarchical clustering. So in the previous lecture we have discussed about k-means clustering. Okay. So, unlike k-means, we do not need to choose the number of clusters in advance. Instead, the method builds clusters step by step. It creates a tree-like structure showing how data points are grouped together. This structure is called dendrogram. So, hierarchical clustering gives us a complete hierarchy of cluster. So, how many types of hierarchical clustering are there? Okay, we'll discuss that now. So, this is first is agglomerative clustering. Here we start with each data point as its own cluster and gradually merge them together, as you can see here. So this is actually bottom up approach. The second is divisive clustering, as you can see here, and here we start with all data points in one cluster and keep splitting it. Okay, so this is a top down approach, as you can see here. In practice, agglomerative clustering is used more often. Okay, so now we'll try to understand what is dendrogram. Okay, so a dendrogram is a tree diagram that shows how clusters are formed step by step. At the bottom, each data point starts as its own cluster. As we move up, cluster begins to merge. The height of which they merge represents the distance between them. To decide the final cluster, we draw a horizontal line. The number of branches it cuts gives us the number of cluster. So dendrogram helps us choose the number of cluster visually. Okay. Coming to the advantages and the disadvantages part. One advantage is that we don't need to choose the number of cluster beforehand like we used to do in K means. Okay, we can decide it later using the dendrogram. It is also very easy to visualize and understand. However, it has some limitation. It is slow and not suitable for large data sets. Also, once clusters are merged or split, we cannot undo these steps. Okay, and it requires more computation compared to simpler methods. Okay, now we'll try to understand things in a more better way. Okay, so here you can see there are two hierarchical clustering. Here we have agglomerative and divisive. So on the left side, here we start with each data point as its own cluster, as you can see. In step 1, all points are separate. Then in each step, the closest clusters are merged together. In step 2 and 3, you will see that clusters keep merging. Finally, all points become one large cluster, and this is called bottom up approach. Okay, as you can see here. Now here we look divisive clustering. Here we start with all data points in one cluster, then we keep splitting it into smaller cluster. You can see here step by step the cluster is divided, and finally each point becomes its own cluster. Okay, so the key difference is agglomerative merges clusters and divisive splits the cluster. Agglomerative builds up, divisive breaks down. So this is a better way to memorize it. Okay, if you want to memorize and write in examination. Coming to the last part, if we conclude it, so hierarchical clustering builds clusters step by step and represents them using a dendrogram. It allows us to decide the number of clusters visually. In the next lecture, we will learn about DBSCAN, okay, and which can handle complex cluster shapes where K means fail. So continue your machine learning journey. I'm grateful to all of you for coming till this part of the video. I hope you have understood the concepts. I have also added quiz so that you can learn in a very better way. I'm really grateful to you, to all of you for coming till this part of the video. Continue learning, continue doing good. Thank you so much.